we saw the Death Knight versus Keel as the final map between Cypher and Guppy. What other opportunity would you probably see a matchup like that? Probably only in 3 out of 5 when the bans come in. We see a lot less of the more popular champions, I guess. But yeah, that Corrupted keep going in with the Anarchy. I think if Brick's going to get anything, he needs a head start, because if he goes 1 down in quite dominating fashion, I would be quite concerned for the rest of it. You know, confidence is going to be big for Brick, and a good start is mandatory for him. You
can see Brick's interesting sort of setups there that he's got. He's got like the keyboard on the lap, but he has that sort of lean-in going on as well. I dig that. I dig that a lot. Yeah, as you say, it would be good for him to build up a bit of momentum early on. Otherwise, I think I would be a little bit worried on his behalf. But I think he's got a good champion for himself. I think Anarchy is very, very good for him. Again, I've been surprised earlier on in the season that this is something that he's taken under his wings so much, but he's had some of the successes that he has had has been off the back of that champion. So he needs to reap those rewards ASAP. I think I'm going to do a lot of learning about Gnik, if I'm honest, to see what he's shown us such amazing skills in the challenges in the Americas, but it's taking it to that next level, it's taking it to that LAN environment and seeing how far that he can really go with it. So the question marks for me are on his head, but I'm excited to see how they're going to get answered.
But I mean, how many times are we seeing that in Quake Champions, especially with like somewhat newer players to, not necessarily Quake in general, but I guess like a competitive setting, you know, a setting where the weeklies and the online tournaments, you know, players kind of like, I guess maybe tip their toes into it, but then the LAN happens, which is just a different beast entirely.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the fact that you're in a different environment that's not what you're used to at home or something like that. It's, you know, the echo of the room. It's the fact you're in this open space. There's a crowd watching you. The lights are on. Like, there are so many moving parts when it comes to an offline event that can really affect players. And we've even seen it with the likes of Wenger. You know, Wenger he was this online beast for the longest time, went to LAN and...
You don't always want to say that about a player, though. It's unfortunate, right? But
yeah,
he's managed to try and make that transition, hasn't he? He's now a beast pretty much everywhere.
And he's one of the favourites absolutely to win this year.
Yeah, so...
What a difference a year can make.
Exactly. It reminds me a bit about Razy when we saw him in the early periods of Quake Champions, too. And no one really knew what to expect from this guy. And he just came storming, almost taking down Rafa.
Few lands in.
Yeah.
And then DreamHack Denver happened.
That was like a LAN in, basically. I think that was the next LAN, and he just takes it down.
Yeah, it was QuakeCon 2017, then DreamHack Denver after that.
Yeah, then he got top 3 ESWC. I think he had a sort of slight downward spiral, but he's always been such a contender in duel. Top 4 at QuakeCon this year, but you know.
But I mean, Brick in this situation, there are a couple of things that you have to worry about, and one of them is, I think, losing steam mid-map. That Brick, he pretty consistently has an amazing start in pretty much every map that he plays, and he hits these wonderful shots. He gets these, you know, his combat skill. Like, we can't deny that. When a fight happens, you know, you can expect him to hit the shots he needs. His rockets are decent. I think weapon combinations are good too. Like, you know, his weapon choice isn't something that really fails him. It's just that those moments of greatness have kind of historically been in short bursts rather than the entirety of a whole map. And that's kind of what you need at this level of play. At the same time, in the online tournaments, that is the one thing that Gnik has had pretty much no troubles on. It's just this level of crazy consistency. Gnik was the first player actually to be guaranteed for Lucca as well. You know, that says all about his dominance, I think. But while we're here, Zoot, let's go into predictions. Who do we realistically think has a good chance to win this?
It's quite... I honestly find this quite difficult. I'm leaning towards Gnik with a sort of 3-1. I think, to me, that makes sense on paper. But then when you put the environment into play as well, I think it depends how he comes out swinging, really, because we've seen his aim, we've seen the clips of Gnik, we've seen what he can do. Can he transfer it? How is Brick going to transform on LAN? As you say, he's been around Italy for a few days now. He's been warming himself up to all of this. I think I want to go 3-1 Gnik.
I honestly,
don't know where
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on this pretty much for the same reasons. But I think that realistically, a lot of people are expecting maybe a 3-0 here, but because of the environment, I feel like, you know, Brick has the potential to get one game, but that one game might be enough to wake up Gnik to go, okay, well, let's remember how to play this game, and then bam, it'll be business as usual.
I think if Brick's going to take the map, I think it's going to be the first one.
Thanks to Anarchy as well.
Yeah.
That extended arm. But it sounds like we'll be going into this game very, very soon indeed. Remember, this is relegation territory. Whoever wins this is going to go into Stage 2 of Quake Pro League. Gnik will be overtaking Brick if he wins, and Brick will be maintaining his spot if that happens. So here we go. It's going to be the Stage 1 Finals relegation match number 2. Gnik versus Brick.
Let's do this, man. Let's do this. Looks like we've actually got the Nyx that's going to be coming out.
So here we load in, starting off with that Corrupted Key. Looks like actually is going to be a different champion, not the Anarchy that we saw in the graphics. Sorry about that, I suppose, but whatever.
Whoa.
Leave it in the past.
God.
What a start. Brick in big trouble already, and with the rotation of the items already beginning, there was no way Brick was realistically going to get away.
15 seconds in, and Gnik's like, right, I want to get my first frag on land. That's how I'm going to do it. Oh, we got a mid-air, though, from Brick. Gnik finds himself a little low. Both players weak on health. We got items that will be coming up at the same time. There might be sparks just above the mega health.
Gnik's going to go in for the damage, but Brick wise to it, and some of the elements there, you know, Gnik maybe not showing Brick enough respect on that entry towards Mega, thinking he can really strong arm his way. The super shotgun, who's going to get it? Gnik gets the final shot. That could have gone either way, Zoot.
What was amusing is that I think Brick was debating over whether or not to pick up the ammo crate. But the thing is, if he picked up the ammo crate, he doesn't get the heavy armor. So he only had one rocket left. It was such a difficult conundrum for him to face. He did get Gnik low at that stage. And Gnik is not able to commit to that mega. So Brick isn't looking too bad despite losing the last fight.
It was a really unfortunate way to lose that first frag, right, where both of the major items have just been collected and you're basically just short of 1 HP. You know, what do you do in that situation as a light who only has a few avenues to survive there? Gnik's now going to be going through the LG. Wonderful. Getting the all-important LG to fight back. Peppering it, but Brick has the upper hand. And with a Dire Orb that was placed a little bit too early.
Yeah, he didn't get all the damage that he wanted for it necessarily, and Brick not looking terrible.
But for me, this is kind of what we talked about at the start. I really, really feel like it's going to take Gnik just a little bit of time to kind of just ease into this match.
Because the damage is just done straight away. It's like, right, Tribal it is. We'll do it this way. That's going to be Gnik taking the lead again. You're totally spot on. There's some slight hiccups there. I think he just needs to calibrate a bit, get those optimizations in terms of getting to the item in the right time. There's a lot of very promising things that we're seeing from Gnik at the moment on this world stage that we have. He's going to be able to fight his way onto the mega health. The heavy armor is going to be probably a step too far, but Brick hasn't pushed over there. This item's going to be given up, and Gnik's got a chance to get it. Does he anticipate the Ghost Walk?
Yeah, looks like Gnik went in for somewhat of a mind game, but hang on! Whoa. In between SSG shots, he's going to find the money shot right there and take out Brick for another time. But I actually quite like that play of going in with the Dire Orb, because right as that heavy's about to spawn, there was a possibility that maybe Gnik was actually going to teleport to it. You know, he's been making a couple of, I guess, failed executions at the very beginning of this. Brick's definitely aware of that. So Brick, and that's actually something that you kind of have to respect. If he teleported to it, Brick was probably going to die. And then it's, well, hopefully I can spawn near heavy to do something about it. But in this case, Gnik making it 4-2. Nice control. Here comes the LG looking real crispy. And the slip gate to finish. Nice combo.
Gets it off on time. Looking for the Tribal off the spawn. Definitely looking the right way. That doesn't get the damage on this occasion. I think he may have smelt that there's a Ghost Walk happening. A little bit of damage on the exit. Bricks gets the mega health, but he hasn't really have much left to work with after it. This has been very good work from Gnik. 3.5 minutes into his first experiences on LAN. I like what I'm seeing from this guy. Brick pushing in pretty hard. He's got no Ghost Walk to fall back on. He doesn't need it. Brings it back a step closer. Of only 7 health that he had left at the end of that.
But in some ways, Gnik is doing a wonderful job of doing just enough even if he concedes a frag, he's doing so much damage, and he's at the very least starving Brick of important things to collect that by the time he loses the frag, Brick has nothing to work with, and Gnik can simply respawn and then correct that wrong, right? You know, it's still 6-3. When Brick finally makes something happen, there's not a lot of momentum to gain from it because there's just not enough stuff on the map for him to recover with.
And we return to level pegging control-wise. Brick with the favored position for Mega Health, but we've got an orb that's just going to be used as distraction. Brick firing off at it. Ghostwalk is used. Which way is he going to go? Didn't necessarily need the lightning gun, and Brick's just hiding on the side of nail gun room. He won't be found for the moment, but he's got no Ghostwalk, he's got no stack, and he's now just been locked down here in the Boneyard. This should be another for Gnik, but he kind of gets faked out for a second. Brick, is there an exit to this? Is there a way to leave? Gnik chasing as hard as possible.
I mean, I do not know if Brick's going to be out. I don't know any timeline where Brick was going to survive that exchange, but I guess maybe he wasted a little bit of time. How impactful that will be, we're not really sure, especially as he spawns no armor in sight. And this is lights we're talking about. They're so vulnerable to that damage being peppered away from the heavy machine gun. Gnik once more maintaining the level of control. The moment Brick took the Mega, I mean, this has kind of been the constant case, where the moment Brick has anything that assembles like a little victory, Gnik's there to kind of make it feel like it just isn't that significant. Brick spawns near Mega, takes Mega, but he has nothing to fight back with from range, so Gnik just bullies him away with a heavy machine gun and undoes all the damage. The moment Brick collects it, again, here comes a rocket to kind of make Brick worried. He's got no armor at the moment, and that's now almost forcing him towards heavy in this situation, because you can't allow Gnik at this stage to just maintain a huge level of control when he's got a huge frag lead. You know, over half of this map is now finished, and Gnik now is trying to cut him off once more, getting some more damage on deck. Brick, not a lot of HP, but he's sitting on semi-decent armor. Gnik's going to undo some of that with an armor of his own. Sometimes he's going to get the dire orb, though, but oh no, that's a bit of a blunder. Brick shooting the terrain by accident and doing more damage to himself, and now he's terribly weak.
Because before this, Brick was taking all of the items, but it was Gnik doing, at least being even on all of the damage, if not probably doing a bit more. Now he gets himself onto the items, and what can he do with this? Little spray with the heavy machine gun, zoomed in. I think he should look to close out the kill as soon as possible. Wow. Oh, it's just going to be a direct flick behind his back. That's some style that we'll never say no to.
And also a sign that perhaps Gnik, that couple of minutes of uncomfortableness and dropped execution, I feel like that's not really happening anymore, Zoo. And I kind of feel like perhaps this was just the wake-up call. Perhaps the rest of the maps might be a little bit more like this, but I guess we'll find out soon.
I'm really, really impressed by Gnik to be able to come to Lucca. He landed yesterday fairly late. He's giving us a great performance off the beginning. There's going to be another one for him, 11-3. Looking to sink the nail in deeper.
And there's 3 minutes left on this clock, Zoo. And I think, you know, there's always the chance in Time Limit Duel that you reach a point of no return. And we might be dangerously close. You want to telefrag me? Well, how about this? Take these apples.
He was ready for that. He was so ready for that. On slight miss on the jump. No big deal for him. This heavy machine gun is just really important switches that he makes to the HMG. And he's getting so much from it, too. Brick's going to be feeling like he's under an awful lot of pressure at the moment.
Yeah, I do wonder what this first map really is going to do to Brick's morale, because, you know, fundamentally you're against someone who was only really dealing with some of those little errors here and there at the very beginning, and, you know, from that point on, this has been the Gnik that everyone's talking about. I know there's a really happy 40 in the crowd right now that's watching this going, that's my boy, that's why I believe. But if you're Brick, there's a lot of mental battles to be going on here. More of the heavy machine gun, wonderful weapon swapping for another time. He's going to be rewarded with the Mega as well. And consistently Brick being caught without armor as well. A very common problem that he's been facing, where once more Gnik has just been completely, like right now he's starving him of all armor. So when the fight finally re-engages, Brick has nothing. Maybe he has a light, and that's kind of it.
What's so cool there is Gnik makes that all play at the top. Is like, I've used my ability, but now so have you, and you're going to be depending on yours probably a bit more to kind of reduce the amount of frags that I can get. And he knows exactly where he is now. Can he lock him down at all? Finds him, gets this sweet flick rocket. And he runs out of HMG ammo. That's the only reason he stopped. Can he try and chase him at the top? Mega health is still up.
slightly unoptimal rocket jump, losing out on the speed, but who really cares at this point? He's got 10 frags in the lead, and we're 1 minute 15 away from Corrupted Keep being done and dusted. I think if you're Gnik, you're going to be feeling pretty good at this point, and it kind of just felt to me like for the entire 10 minutes of this map, Brick has been unable to play the game at all. This has just been one-player games.
Yeah, Gnik, aside from a couple of exchanges early on, Gnik seems to have been very confident and in control of everything that's been going on. And I think he's made this kind of on-the-fly reflections. Brick's going to be able to get himself another back, though, but there's a lot to be done in 45 seconds. There's more than my heart that tells me it's not going to happen.
Definitely. I mean, mathematically, there's just no way this can be achieved at this stage. And even now, Gnik, you know, can just take his foot off the gas pedal a little bit, play that defensive game and run away. I mean, knowing Gnik, though, he's probably going to try and get himself another frag or two. There's going to be one of them, looking for a second, just for style point at this stage, I suppose. But here he goes again, getting almost a lovely prediction rocket. Brick was running straight into the firing line. OG getting peppered, and is he going to give it up?
Ooh, struggled with the aim a bit there. I'm trying to the predictive orb.
That would have been absolute insanity if he picked that one up. But what he is going to pick up, Zoo, is the first map. Gnik's going to take that one extremely dominantly, 14-5. And there's a couple of things to take away from it, I guess. You know, Gnik, he's going to be feeling pretty good about himself, I would imagine.
Definitely.
But if you are Brick, you haven't got a lot of time left to reflect on what you should do differently.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be jumping straight into the next map. We should be going over to Molten in a few moments. This has been a map that Brick's also been successful at. In his own right, but it's a map that I think is very comfortable for a lot of players in the Americas. This has been one of the actually top played maps that we've been getting throughout the QPL, in fact. So I'm curious, can Brick kind of put the hammer down a little bit and defend himself and his spot in the QPL, or is it going to be a kind of like a Garpy story for Gnik at that 2-0?
I mean, in this situation, just looking at all these different replays, when Brick was finally able to get a frag, it didn't really mean a huge amount for him with the bigger picture, because every other frag we see after that is just a pickup. Yeah. You know, where Gnik gets fragged, and then it's like, okay, well, you've got like 20 HP.
He was always back there straight away. That was that was one of my favorite right there. That sort of flick rocket that we just had behind his back.
But going into the future maps, like clearly Gnik is maintaining a level of just good form that was expected of him because of his online performance, and clearly there's not really any nerves being shown here, so our concerns about him on LAN, at least for the moment, against someone who I know he's confident he can beat, he looks totally fine. Now, if you're Brick is kind of known for being a little bit inconsistent when it comes to the course of an entire map, and even here, like, he had some moments where he did pretty okay, but ultimately it wasn't maintained. And now we're going into future maps. If Gnik is doing what we expected, which is being good from, you know, the second, it's the first second up until the 10th minute, Brick has a lot to try and do himself. That's a lot of work and something he's not really been able to do up until this point.
There's a lot of item control that we've had on that map from Gnik too. That's going to be scary stats if Brick were to look at those. Another thing I think about is, let's say that Gnik does take the next map. Then we get to the sort of closing out a series point. And there's also another sort of trick to it on LAN, where it gets a little bit different. We'll obviously have to cross that bridge if we get to it. But I'm very, very curious to see how Gnik approaches that. But from this point on, we've got no reason to doubt him. He's been very solid, and I think his strats are going well. He's not getting shaken by anything that's going wrong. He had a couple of missteps early on the map, but there was an immediate recovery. There was no down period where he kind of gave up 2, 3, 4, 5 frags and then managed to get himself back into the game. It was bang, straight away. Brick, if you've got an advantage, it's for, count the seconds on your hand long.
It's almost one of those very scary situations to be on the receiving end against, when it feels like your opponent's in control, even though they just died. And that's it doesn't come lightly, that kind of opportunity, but I guess it really so far has been a testament to Gnik's dominance. Even that first map, I think the only time Brick collected items was when he'd just spawned near it. And that was kind of it. Every time a fight broke out, it went in Gnik's favor, but we're now going to be going into Molten Falls. Brick going in with that scale bearer. And Gnik.
I respect it.
Galena. We'll see how this matchup fares, actually, because those totems, if anything, they'll act as somewhat of a radar for that Bull Rush, right? The Bull Rush to have a fight if he tries to run away, going around the corner, you know, willy-nilly, not looking around the corner, bam, damage, information.
Where face planting totems is more than fine. It's when you're Bull Rushing, though. I mean, there's the information, but clearing them from the other side of the coin, it's important just to make sure they've been gotten rid of. Here's a Bull Rush. He is going to hit him a little bit, I think. That is going to be the first kill for Brick. Bull Rush assisted, getting the stack back up onto the heavy, and, well, just find a little bit of health and he'll be feeling okay.
Mix-ups.
We're good.
That's what it was.
Half the skill. He's quite a tall character as well. It just happens.
Now, we've actually seen the Bull Rush, I think, for better or worse throughout the weekly QPLs, especially on this map.
Whoa.
A little bit of a rocket boost up there just to get some of that extra height. Unfortunately, Brick looking kind of weak, so he has to try and hit that rail. Watch out for the dangerous tri-bolt. It's going to get used again, and Brick trying to get as much damage as he could. Almost successful trade. And that trade wouldn't have been bad news, right? Who spawns closest to the heavy, perhaps?
But he dropped when heavy wasn't up for 8 seconds, so a little bit too soon in my eyes. I think if he went for the spam on the sidelines, he probably could have found himself a bit more success. Gnik's going to help us get to 0-0. And see if he... Well, the items come up at exactly the same time. Let's see how he's going to be approaching the next major items and how he's going to be approaching fighting Brick. Because he has got to be careful with someone so big like that, tanky, and that can do that damage in close range.
We have to be very careful down near this location, though. The Bull Rushes... We've seen quite a few suicides throughout QPL where a Bull Rush has been used near the light armor and simply a juked, you know, a sidestep to the left, and that's it. You know, Scale Bearer goes running off the maps. There are certain moments there where you've got to be kind of careful. Doesn't come all the time, but it can happen.
So we saw from him in the last period.
I didn't want to name drop. That's definitely on you.
Well, if you're not going to, I will.
Fair enough. I respect that. But Brick's sitting on a massive stack. I guess it's also going to be a matter of weaponry. At this point, it's fair to assume that everyone's pretty much got everything they need. At the very least, the Unholy Trinity is locked and loaded. But here comes some damage peppering away. Brick trying to get in and out. Has to take a rail on the flip side. But thanks to his stack, he's not going to be, I think, too phased about that.
So we've got the light, so Gnik's armor's looking good, his health is looking good.
And a delay implied. Really good stuff, because that delay now means that, look, if Gnik's able to get a really good fight near the heavy and perhaps maybe frag Brick and then take it, that natural rotations come into play. And we've seen what that natural rotation can do if you play as Galena and then you have totems set up. You know, it's kind of like, you know, constant. Oh no, he misses the shot! But can he survive?
Oh, Brick clutches it on the sideline. Gnik was kind of playing the maths there and thinking, what are the actual chances of him landing the shot? Because it's a difficult rail to hit, what Brick just achieved. But Brick gets himself out, he gets some armor back up, and he's feeling a little better.
Ironically, only really possible that Brick can retreat and then get the Mega, because Gnik applied the delay too. It would have been a little bit harder for him to get there, perhaps, depending on the spawn, but Brick now with the 1 frag lead, and you definitely know he's going to try and maintain it. Has to be careful with those rails, though. The moment he misses one, that downtime is going to be so punishing with the hitbox as big as Scale Bearers. And we're running in to try and collect once more. The Mega going to get picked up. Now Brick with a chunky stack and plenty of ammo too. Like, he can kind of really go wherever he wants at this stage.
He's just waiting for some information at the moment. Is he going to show his face? He has found him, but we've got the heavy up soon, so he doesn't really want to explore further than that. I like the position that he's taking. So you can tell if Gnik is going to be aggressive and try and put pressure, at least he can find him straight away. And I think he's going to go straight back over towards the Mega Health. It's up and ready for him.
Oh, nice. Good use of the tri-bolt, though. Perfect timing, but so was that rail. However, as long as Gnik hits those defensive shots and undoes all the hard work that Brick's trying to build up here, we might see some different outcomes coming out. Because, you know, Gnik, all he has to do is hit those defensive shots, right? We have to just get that stack first. So when a fight breaks out, kind of like now, you can then bully your way away. Ball rush is used, but he misses the rocket! Looking way too far to one side. I mean, I kind of respect the attempt, where if he got that direct, maybe that fight would have gone differently. However, Gnik having the presence, the rocket as well. Brick barely wins the fight, but he's so weak. I wonder if Gnik's going to have some pickup potential here. There are a few little health bubbles, but Brick's going to go around the side of Mega, and he's, you know, slightly healthy at this stage. Gnik's still looking like he's a bit stronger. The heavy is about to spawn, of which here comes Gnik to try and get some more information himself, I suppose.
Yeah, Brick's not gone too hard in on the major items since he has been low on HP, but he doesn't really need to at the same time. If you can keep track of the items, that's big. Gnik, I think, tries to get at the top. Brick making sure he gets rid of the totems that he can see. And he's playing it slow. I actually really like what Brick's doing. As long as he is keeping a track of the major items, I think this is really positive for him. He has got some escapability. It's quite difficult for Gnik to chase directly. You've got that bull rush that you can use aggressively or defensively. Again, a good rail from Gnik.
I do worry sometimes, though, Zoot, because we are starting to have these little exchanges where, you know, for every one rail that Brick's kind of hitting in this situation, Gnik's hitting 2 of them.
Yeah.
You know, where there's that one difference where there's that one unreturned shot, and all it took was a couple of occasions for Brick to then kind of get put behind, and then he's a little bit nervous to fight for one of the items. Gnik kind of runs in, takes it for free, doesn't do it for heavy, but at this point, I kind of almost feel like Gnik was totally content with Brick taking that. You know, because fundamentally, he's been hitting a lot more of those range shots than Brick has been so far. Fight's going to happen. Bull rush is forced away. Brick in and out. However, probably going to have to dedicate to this one. Swaps the rocket wonderfully and secures another frag, making it 3-1. And Gnik not quite sure why he stuck around after that one.
He shouldn't have challenged so directly. He can do a great job with damage, but he's got to let Brick kind of put himself out there and not be the one to do that, because Brick can punish so much. Even like off the spawn, it's very, very painful. Brick needs to get out.
That's shot.
A brilliant rail from Brick. It's going to force Gnik to take that small amount of downtime, ensure that he goes for that item. And it's still 10 seconds until we've got the heavy up. And Brick, I think, just be careful of it. He doesn't need to stick himself out there too much. And if anything, it looks like it's been Brick who's needed to warm up into the series more than Gnik. Brick has actually been playing very solidly. A sound strategy in terms of judging, you know, what to do with the given stack that he has. Oh, he does get the push, but I don't think he went into the full bull rush there. So Gnik is going to get another on the board. Oh, he did use it, in fact. My bad.
Looks a little bit like wrong place, wrong time kind of scenario. You know, Brick was prepared to maybe go in and engage something, just not necessarily at that exact second that it happened, because, you know, fundamentally there's a little bit of downtime there, similar to a rail, I suppose, where you're trying to get your weapon out and shoot, and that time was all, you know, Gnik needed to pepper out enough to kill him quick enough that now he's got a massive stack. But here comes another fight. Gnik, good rail, and Brick kind of in trouble here, especially with those totems going off. Brick needs to try and get some armor desperately. And now he's not quite railable, but a couple of them will do it. Let's not forget Scalebearer is one of the larger champions, so accuracy is not going to be as much of a problem. Speaking of which, Gnik hits the first entry rail, forcing Brick away. Does manage to stop the bleeding a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. Even with that base stack, all it takes is one rail to put Brick in a bad situation for another time. And in 13 seconds, the 3 totems are going to be built, and that Galena control can finally apply. That mega on tap.
Beautiful.
Here comes the fight.
He's just got to hold steady, and he does so brilliantly. That's going to be 3-3 there. And I like that Gnik pushed away from the mega health as it was spawning. That's a confident move to play. He catches Brick off guard, and he's able to continue that control with the major items, with heavy coming up. Now picks it up. I mean, that's such a good play for Gnik. Now the pressure's really on Brick. There could be one more frag that decides who's going to win this map.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Zoot, because now it's the 1-minute warning. 3 frags apiece, but I kind of feel like by the end of the stage, Brick trying to play from what feels like a behind situation as a larger champion like Scalebearer can sometimes not be the most enjoyable of tasks, right? Especially if you're getting clipped by all of these sort of defensive rails, and it's, well, now I'm not really strong enough to take a fight, but I kind of have to dedicate anyway, because now I've only got, like, what, 40 seconds? And that's it. Here we go. The entry shot is going to hit its mark. Even though Bull Rush reduces damage, it doesn't matter at this stage because Brick is still very weak indeed. Ooh. And another rail connects. Gnik having no trouble at all hitting these marks.
That was tasty. He's got another shot for some damage, actually. Totem goes down, but there's the information, so he's just going to go directly. Misses the rail shot. Brick does deliver on this. Yeah, he has to be. He doesn't overcommit to the fight. He knows if he goes close range, it's kind of playing into Brick's hands. So instead, you know what? We can have an overtime. As long as I keep control, we're good, but this might be decided right here. Rockets do hit a little bit, some good splash. Brick pretty weak at the moment. We are going to hit that 10-minute mark, but here comes the bull rush. Oh, it's going to be Brick turning it around. right at the last moment.
Respect my bull rush, mate. At the last second, he completely goes round. I mean, what a perfect read, too. That just double back. Gnik being a little bit overconfident to take the fight. I know at that time he was kind of railable, with the exception of, the little health bubbles that he took down near Mega. But fundamentally, that was Gnik saying, now I'm going to take this fight. I've got a really good position. And before you can even make that decision, here comes a Scale Bearer running right at you with the damage reduction for Bull Rush, the damage that comes through when it finally connects. And what a wonderful use of that champion. I think Brick played that extremely well. And I feel like Scale Bearer was a huge part of that success.
I cannot wait to see the replay on that one. We've got plenty of other replays to go through too, but my God. The thing is, Gnik, I think, has to laugh that one off, and we saw him doing that already.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It was full business time from Brick.
You got me. Fair enough.
Brick, there was, I don't think there was a single flinch or anything like that. He's like, yeah, and what?
But there is that pretty significant difference that Brick has had in the weekly qualifiers for QPL is the Brick that we see now, by all means, is not the same Brick that we saw at QuakeCon. There is a different level of form, and I know a huge part of that comes from the weekly practice, the constant scrims that are played as well, and just a level of look, a tournament sayings here for Duel.
Oh, this is it. Oh, the turn around. He's just like, really? You're doing that? Because he didn't have that much health there. Brick was in trouble, but I think he got a full 125 damage with the Bull Rush. It just went from 0 to 100 really, really fast for him.
Well, with where he
amazing.
retreated at that final moment, I think we kind of have to look at how the last few minutes of that map were going, where every time Brick was trying to escape, he was just getting clipped by rail.
Yeah.
Down near Mega, seeing as he'd dedicated towards that doorway, he couldn't double back because Gnik would have just finished him off. If he's running towards Mega, I think there was just enough time that Gnik might have been able to get off one of those initial rails. And yes, even with the health that Brick just took, maybe he would have tanked it, but he would have been so weak.
Yeah,
maybe he had no chance of getting away in his eyes.
Let's say he did Bull Rush and get to the bounce pad and he runs from there. What has he got left to do at that stage?
Just get chased and die.
Really very little. Like, that plays into Gnik's hands. Who wanted to either finish the kill there or not? But the thing is, Gnik, and I don't think it was a stupid play at all, because you expect a player in that position to run away. And I think Brick was like, I've got to go clutch, or my chances of winning are significantly reduced.
Well, I mean, that might be the highest level of clutch that we've seen from Brick this entire season.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like there are just certain things that are coming out. However, no time to reflect on that anymore. It's now going to be Death Knight and the Ison going into Vale and Nath.
I do like the pick a little more from Brick in this, but it's going to be down to that execution, as we said.
We know that even if Death Knight's not a particularly popular champion, he is popular on this map. It's the whole thing about champion use. Map-specific champions definitely exist, and Death Knight, one of them. You won't see him on a lot of out-in-the-open maps, but on a small, closed map like this, both the burst damage of the Flame Strike and then the Flame Trail that's left kind of blocking off certain areas. But Gnik is going to score that first blood and be rewarded by not only more rail ammunition, but the all-important heavy.
That was really, really aggressive from Brick. I'm very surprised he went for that. Oh, we got a good rocket. He's not going to push through the teleporter because there is a turret up there, and he has no more rockets to kind of quickly deal with it. Now that he's picked it up, he might say, right, let's go minesweeping.
Has to get that turret out of the way first. But now he's pushing. Looks like we're going to get another Mega spawning soon. Heavy, just about to appear. Gnik with that perfect timing, as expected. Here comes potentially another fight here down near Mega. The entry damage for the rocket's good, and the denial, potentially a Flame Strike, was used for Gnik. Can't quite hit his mark with the rocket. Gets a little bit of extra damage though, potentially. Nice little rail, but that's going to be swiftly returned. Brick has to be a little bit careful. He has to retreat and maybe get some health and some armor while he's at it if he can. There we go, he's been able to stop the bleeding just a little bit.
It was a good little double that we saw too. So Brick here for a challenge on the heavy. He's going to be there. Takes a little chip, but it gets the rail afterwards. Brick looking good after that engagement. I think he's going to try rocket jump up, but just misses it. Still has time as this Mega Health spawns. Can he find his way through? He's so low, but there's the vertical rail, and we've seen that more than once in this series. Brick clutching out those shots.
You mentioned that perhaps it was Brick the one that needed to sort of ease into this series a little bit, and I definitely think you're right after watching this. Like, just the level of rails that Brick's able to connect. He just looks very comfortable, doesn't he? But
yeah.
He's pushing his way through, and it feels like at this stage it's kind of hard to call what we think might happen. Tries to get away from the rockets, but take one little bit of rocket damage, but the reward might be mega. We just need to stay alive long enough to get it, and we can't. Gnik getting the perfect frag there, and really nothing Brick could do after he was fragged to stop that mega from being taken.
Yeah, very early positioning though for mega health. That's the scary thing that we had from Brick then. Gnik now taking a lead, getting himself 2 rails, goes for the spam shot right after, hoping for the style, but he might just be able to push in. He's now got that sound cue. He knows the turret's there. That was a nice little defensive spot to put the turret, as it allows Brick to move away unhurt. And again, these great rails. All of a sudden, he's kind of turning this one around, and he's going to get himself into mega health. Brilliant turret positioning.
Another rail zoo. He's just hitting them back to back. Unfortunately,
it's insane.
Misses the final shot, but there's still an opportunity to really make something happen here. Brick, the substantial stack lead at this moment in time, but Gnik looks like he's going towards heavy to try and shut it down. But yeah, all he's really looking there, I think, is timing. If he's going to concede it, let's need to make sure we know that it's going to appear next and exactly when it will be. But now Gnik with an inferior stack. Yeah, the aim of the game is going to be to take those small pickups here and there. You might have to concede a major item or two. But as long as we have the frag lead, ultimately, you know, Gnik's the one that kind of gets to dictate this pace. Because Brick is the one that has to come to him at some point.
Well, I think Brick is chilling a little bit. He knows it's still early in the game. They don't need to make any plays where you're over-committing too hard. So this might be one where he does want to commit, because we've got the mega up in 5 seconds. LG finally getting down onto Gnik, and he gets the rail follow-up. Mega is up, so that is going to cure the flames. And Gnik just pushes right in. This is going to be another kill for Brick. And Brick shakes his head. It's like, no, mate. No, you don't do that.
Was that a personal version of a finger wag?
A little bit, yeah, I think so.
Do not disrespect me like that.
Off the spawn, if someone's there at the rockets, you've got to be very careful. They're going to get a rail follow-up, and Brick just keeps on shaking his head.
Wonder if Brick's there going, I wouldn't be doing that. I definitely wouldn't do that. And Gnik, he's going to get a little bit of bonus damage thanks to the passive of the gauntlet with Death Knight, but fundamentally, there's just a real air of Gnik just being too aggressive here. He is being way too eager to just run in and get this damage, and I feel like if a message hasn't already been sent that you've got to be showing Brick a little bit more respect, like, surely now, and here comes that turret, peppering damage. Gnik taking a lot more damage than he's probably comfortable with, and he can't get the rail, and the missed rail, the downtime means Brick gets the heavy for free. Looks like he's on track to get the mega at the same time, and Gnik, he's way too weak to do anything about it.
That's crazy. Brick even ran out of rails in that fight, but it didn't matter. As soon as he dodged it, it was very risky, I've got to say, but Gnik missed the rail shot, a very, very important rail to get himself back into the game. Now that's going to get delayed a little bit, and Brick can really focus on the items a bit.
And just the turret has been a thorn in Gnik's side, hasn't it? It really has, every time.
Amazing turret placement that we've had from Brick.
Phenomenal. This is just, I don't want to be a broken record, but this really just looks like a different Brick to me. But now here comes that LG. He's very weak though. Bets it on a bit of a rail damage. Unfortunately, those two misses.
Oh, he tries it, but the angle's just so tight there. Oh, he goes in a little bit deep on this occasion. Gnik making it 3-5. He needs to find a way to secure some real control though. Heavy will be up in 2 seconds. This item's very important. And Brick's not present. He's not going to challenge on it at all.
I suppose maybe with the 2 frag lead, we might be able to start shifting into a more defensive play, but there's still 4 minutes left on the clock, so that might be a little bit hard to adopt until, you know, the chips are down, I suppose. But Brick just collecting the mega. Should have a decent amount of weaponry ready to go as well. But now if you're Gnik, you know, we're just trying to, yeah, there's the jump pad. Got a little bit of that information, tiny bit of damage on the tri-bolt. Brick, not going to be over-aggressive just yet. The battle for the heavy, quite an important one, but met by the turret, and once more, these turret placements have been so sublime. Every time Gnik goes around a corner, it's just extra damage here and there.
Gnik fading away from that. Going to have to be another time for buying opportunities. As Brick secures the free mega health, and there's going to be light spawning.
Every time Gnik is weakened and he's forced to disengage, it's just a win for Brick, because ultimately, if you have that frag lead, you're the one that is, you know, I mean, a lead's a lead, isn't it? The moment someone has to disengage and they have to wait until the next rotation, even if that fight goes skew-if in 30 seconds, it's another 30 seconds until you can comfortably try and make something else happen. We're now at the 3-minute point. 30 seconds is a lifetime when you have this little time left.
Yeah, Gnik needs to push the heavy control first, I think. I think that's where he can win himself the map, or at least give himself a chance to do that.
Here comes Brick.
He's been so aggressive. These rockets have been good from Gnik. We've got so little health remaining. Brick will survive, and he has the heavy straight after. That is a huge, important factor for him. Even getting on the deny. This is brilliant from Brick. You know, you were talking about before, you have like these couple of minutes of great plays from him. We've been seeing basically a full map of great plays from Brick.
And it's, you know, and by no means do I want this to come across as disrespectful, but it's rare that you see it. But if there's going to be a time where Brick is bringing his A game,
he's very focused.
You bet your backside it's going to be Stage 1 Finals. You know, this is relegated. But for those that are just joining us, relegation, right? Whoever loses this will not be present in the Pro League for Stage 2, right? They have to go back into the challenges and try and grind again. If Brick wins this entire series, he maintains his presence, you know, and what a result it would be for him. However, missing some of these shots, but doesn't miss that rail. Watch out for the rocket! That one's a bit scary.
This is a turning point right now. Brick's gonna go down. Gnik's got himself a kill. Just over a minute and a half for him to try and make it back into this.
It's possible.
It's definitely possible at the moment. Brick doesn't look too bad off the spawn. Weapons-wise, he'll be struggling a little bit, but he's got some armor to work with, and he hits
shot!
A fantastic rail.
The denial of just the influence of the heavy, right, in this situation. Gnik, he's not going to be able to just strong-arm himself into a fight, because the moment he collected the heavy, that damage was just deleted instantly. Both rails are going to miss. That's only ever going to be bad news for Gnik at this stage. He needs to make every single shot count. Here comes a fight. He's chasing it, and by God, he has to chase. There's the rail, and now he needs one more frag to even things out and bring himself back into this map. Can Brick run away on a map this small for 1 minute? I'm not sure. We'll see. Here we go.
I thought that was direct. It was still pretty chunky, though.
But
and Gnik's back in control. There is going to be Mega up soon. I think Gnik's going to go for Mega before going on the chase. And now it's really on, because there's a very good time difference between the items for him.
I didn't decide that he was near, but now he understands, hey, if he's nowhere near here and I couldn't hear him, maybe I didn't check the hallway enough. That one time he hasn't spotted. That wasted a lot of time, Zoo. Just not looking towards the left that one time.
I feel like it's very dangerous for Brick to not try and do some damage on the items. As those seconds inch closer, it doesn't mean the time's reduced. He's going to find him. He knows where he is. He hits a little bit of rocket damage, but he's weak on the underside. Up by the light armor, Brick outstacks him, and we've got just about 10 seconds to go. Brick wants to shut this one down now.
The rockets will deny at the very least. 5 seconds on the clock. He hits the rail, but it's not enough. Brick, he's able to take the Mega, and the collection of the Mega keeps him going. And just like that, Zoo, here we are. What an interesting situation this is. And that fight at the last second, the moment Gnik, when he was down near rail, and he just didn't look to the left, that micro little section to the left, and it wasted like 20 seconds.
We've just had such brilliant plays from Brick throughout this map that it just made it a little bit too hard for Gnik at the end. I mean, there have been occasions throughout this stage where Brick would have an advantage but play it over-aggressive, and therefore loses advantage and allow his opponent to make that comeback. And this time he played it so well. He held on to his advantage. He used those defensive positions. He didn't challenge all the time on the items, which is sometimes an okay thing to do, but when it's that close, one frag difference in a clutch position,
and it also,
really magnificently done.
Masterful turret placement played a huge part. I mean, roughly around the middle of the map mostly, but it made such a huge difference that when a fight would break out and Gnik would try and get an angle, guess what? I've already covered that angle with the turret. Now you're taking entry damage. I know you're there anyway, and it's just, you know, it goes from bad to worse, doesn't it? But this was the turning point. You know, the second that rail connected, there was an avenue there to perhaps come back, but it was just, you know, potentially a mismanagement of just how to chase in that final minute period. Brick, I mean, confidently sticking to his guns, giving up complete control up until the end when he knew he could squeeze it and take the Mega. And, you know, that Mega at the end kept him alive. Where even if a rail landed, it didn't matter because the downtime would have gone over the time limit and he would have won anyway. But, I mean, Brick, I'm really impressed with what we're seeing from him so far.
Can he?
I really am. It's such a different form of this guy.
Can he do it again? Is the question.
One more map. But if you're Gnik now, maybe that confidence has taken a bit of a knock.
So we should be getting a Blood Covenant, which I'm very excited about, by the way. We haven't yet seen Blood Covenant.
I mean, if we're testing player nerves and player form, Blood Covenant is like one of the ultimate maps to test that with.
And that's where I want to see
It ticks every box, doesn't it? It ticks every box.
Well, we've got Light Champions as well on the case. We should be having Slash versus Athena, Slash by Gnik. I will be very surprised if Gnik doesn't take this one, because I've seen some positive things from his Slash. I think he likes the speed. I think it meshes well with his playstyle, where he likes to be a little bit showboaty. He has got very good mechanical skills, and there aren't as many of those choke points that he maybe struggles with, like we just saw on Veil. So we'll see. I'm feeling that we're going to get another tiebreaker.
There's just stressful situations, Zoot. That's all there is to it, really. This relegation territory means so much to the players in question. If you're Gnik, you want to prove yourself. You want to test your mettle against the best in the world, and you want a weekly situation to try and prove that. But if you're Brick, you're just trying to stay alive, and this would be his biggest success in the QPL so far.
Well, let's do it, guys. We move on to another map here. We are on Blood Covenant. We start with Brick on Athena. And he's going to be able to get himself onto Mega Health straight away. He's got the LG already. Going to find Gnik early on, but he can get that hook up quickly. And try to pop himself up onto the rail. He'll be careful. Instead, he takes a slightly more forward position to kind of work out where he is. He has used a lot of hooks in quick succession, but has got those hourglasses to get one or two of them back.
There's going to be a difference in movement, absolutely, with these two champions. They may be light, but, you know, Slash is going to be really be focusing on that crouch slide. Yeah, that was a really good rail to open things up with. Slash, that crouch slide just gives her the boost of speed. Athena, it's all about verticality. You know, on a map like this, her being able to kind of go from, you know, the catacombs down here up until rail, you know, that's a really big deal, and it really only her and Ranger can do it as consistently. But because of her hooks, she gets to do that and then go somewhere else completely differently. You know, Slash, at the very least, she still has to, yeah, she can use the speed, but there are certain jumps that she still can't make without rocket jumping or something similar. Interested to see how the variety will actually come through thanks to the two champs, but another rail Brick, and he hits another one. If he missed, that would have been bad news, but Gnik with the suicide. I'm a little bit worried about this, Sue. I gotta say, the pillar, the worst enemy.
Let's see, we've got a good spawn from him. He's managed to get himself the heavy straight away. He's pressured immediately with the machine gun. He'll escape and take some other weapons, but yeah, I think he was going for a little flick, and a small pillar got in his way. There's the LG, and it would have been a missed rocket anyway for Brick. So he quickly recovers from it, and it's important to do that. Sweep that one under the rug and get on with things. Oh, the timing just there.
And here comes Gnik. Able to get more of that rail, but eats another one. Brick, you know, like, the question's going to be, can he maintain the rail accuracy he's currently hitting? Because I know hitting Slash when she's going full speed, it's easier said than done for sure. However, you can really see what it sets up, that even that fight that took place near Mega at the start, had Brick missed one of those rails, that downtime and free damage he would have taken would have pretty much been a death sentence. So there's a lot of stress like on Brick in this position to hit every shot he can.
Gnik's kind of tentatively approaching Brick at the moment, knows that he's got a super stack, has been using a lot of rail, has got the heavy machine gun available to him, would like to see a little more of that.
And yeah, there's the plasma trail. Play.
Oh, God.
No games!
Oh.
That rocket play, so good. Wonderful way to pick it up.
Yeah, that's what Gnik really, really needed. And going towards the rockets with a hook, that is dangerous. Tries to find the angle, spots him down Banana, won't land it, but knows that Heavy's going to be up soon. He's chasing around, in fact. This is very dangerous while Heavy's up. Has he overplayed the situation? I think Heavy may have crossed his mind.
We're going to be going towards Mega at the very least, actually. Looks like that is where the bulk of the action is going to take place all the same. Gnik should be able to beat him to the punch. Comfortably taking that.
And items now are synchronized again, like on the spot, almost. He's just listening out a bit, can hear where Brick's going, trying not to give away too much of his own position.
There it is, though. That teleporter. The magic sound we're listening to, but gets caught with the LG mid-jump, actually. Wonderful weapon choice from Brick. I really love it. You love it when you see players going with the LG when they're kind of up near pillars, because obviously jumping is something that you have to do. So easy to catch people off their rhythm. And he's going to get the Mega all the same. Gnik, kind of weak, having to spend a little bit of time correcting some of the stack, but just the small pickups at this stage.
It's smart not to go for the heavy, because Brick, with his speed, can put that pressure on so fast. Oh, gets a little turnaround rocket, chasing with the lightning gun though from Brick. Both players have taken a decent amount of damage, and Brick will disengage. Wow. The rail, though, is returned. Brick could afford to take that shot. He's so low, though. He's going to decide, you know what? I'm going to stack up a little bit. This Mega Health's going to mean more to me when I pick it up. We're 1-1. This is... Man, this series, these relegation/promotion games, we've got a rainbow of plasma.
Ooh. Has to watch out for that missed rail, though. Yeah, going in for the armor. The armor's going to matter a great deal as now here comes the health. Gnik going full speed ahead, looking to try and secure the kill, but being forced away. Does he head him off? He gets the perfect read and the teleporter to save him from the rocket. Wonderful positioning from Gnik, and it absolutely kept him alive. Here's the reward of the Mega. But first, we're going to get a little bit of that stack first. That was such a good choice. What a fight. And it really does transform the matchups the moment you have the light champions that can just go as fast as they can. The chance to jump down and head him off near teleporter is something that most champions can't do. It just changes the dynamic so much.
Well, let's see if Gnik's going to want to go in on this fight. He's already taken quite a lot of tribal damage. His weapon choice there was pretty good, actually, and he will take another dive in. There's going to be one more for Gnik, 3-1. Maybe ease the pressure off him from the last two maps that didn't go his way.
If anything, it's all about boosting that morale, right? There's no getting around the fact that Vale was just a little bit of a disaster map for Gnik, especially seeing as he's gone into this series with as much confidence as he had. Any kind of map win, especially hitting shots like that in succession, should be an easy pickup. Brick, sorry mate, you're not getting away from that one. This map is just going to give Gnik that boost of morale, right?
You can see it. There's a bit more confidence in the way that he's chasing. He's approached things very tentatively previously. And as long as now he's got the control, I think he's going to go in a bit harder. Heavy's up, but Gnik is going to be there to put on some pressure. In fact, he finds Brick straight up anyway, sees that the Heavy's been left, and he knows, okay, Brick doesn't have much to work with. Let's just go in on this a little bit harder.
Looking to hit a pretty interesting angle too. I actually wonder if that rocket jump fake out was almost existing to force Brick down the pillar, of which he didn't bite, but the attempt was there. And what's also going to happen there is the frag going in the favor of Gnik for another time. Looking like he's going to be running away with this one at this stage. And we'll see what happens if we go down to that final map. But for now, there is the potential for Brick to bring this one back, but he has to sort of put a cog in the machine, and that's tricky at this moment because, I mean, how do you stop someone who's feeling this much momentum? To even get the frag, you need to slow them down.
He needs to break up the control that Gnik's got. He needs to take it for himself, and then he needs to buy. We've got a brilliant rocket. Movement doesn't go according to plan. And all of a sudden, this is the entry point for Brick. It doesn't just transform into go for kill right now, but he's got the Mega, he started to pick up the light armor. If he can get the Heavy, then he's looking good. But Gnik is now countering that plan and that future for Brick by hitting some good out-of-control rails. So Brick is almost back to square one at the moment. He's got to do that all over again, and he never really finished the first step, which was to take that control.
But another fight's breaking out. Brick going full speed ahead, understanding that he can't really allow himself to be bullied away from these major pickups. I like the use of the grappling hook just to try and change some of the opportunities to getting juggled by LG, but fundamentally, Gnik, he knows what champions he's against. He's ready for the aim change. It's just matchups at the end of the day. Rocket damage and the two-piece. Looking real good right now.
Now, how does he want to play the last 2 minutes? Does he want to go all aggressive?
I feel like he's just going to take a frag when he can, but...
Oh my god.
Oh my word.
Let's have another one of those. Going for this full spin for a second. He's got a rail ready if he needs it. He misses that shot, but he's got the Mega behind him. Shotgun doesn't quite work out for him.
Thank you, light hitbox. Guarantee if that was a medium or heavy, that would have been a death, for sure.
More than likely.
But with 2 minutes on the clock, if you're Gnik, basically just play that runaway game if you can now.
Yeah.
There's a big demand. I mean, there is a possibility of a comeback, but
yeah,
Brick kind of needs to get a good spawn every time and kind of delete.
I certainly would do that again if you were Gnik. Even right now, that was quite close. He had to hit immensely good machine gun to lock out that kill, and Brick can try to come back very fast, as Gnik's still struggling with HP.
Yeah, it's no wonder that Brick tried to go in for the kill. You know, there's no stranger that we're 1 minute 10 away from this map being finished. So fundamentally, look, you either get a frag now or you lose the map, because we are very dangerously drawing that point of no return where you really can't win because you mathematically can't get the frags required in time.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's been a solid performance so far, and whoa, melted away. Thanks to the hook right there.
And right there, that's the game secure. We are staring down the barrel of another tiebreaker here in our promotion
Bloody
matches.
hell, Zoo. Who would have thought?
This day's going to be good.
Oh, went for the swag shot.
It was like a 360 rocket.
Can we just talk about?
Going on there?
Can we just talk about the fact that Athena went, can't catch? So I can't hear you over the sound of you literally being.
Oh.
What a combo! And this is just Gnik feeling himself. Like at this moment, this is I've got better morale because this map hasn't been as much. But what? Oh my!
He's looking for it. I don't know where he is. It's the rail. He lands again.
I mean, that's a good map. That was a good result. So
that's what Gnik needed.
Absolutely.
The two maps that he's won have been very convincing.
Especially at the end, where that was just flicks unlike you've ever seen.
I think he's having fun, but you know what? He's going to have a lot more fun if he wins the next one. If he puts himself in that kind of position on Awoken, we've got a BJ versus Strog, where actually I think when you get to this level of the series, you kind of get towards these kind of the last pick champions for players. These are two popular champions at the moment.
Absolutely. You know, Strog being given that crouch slide, which
that's so good, that
completely transformed how the champion gets played. But to me, like that last 1 minute, Brick had absolute signs of life pretty much the entirety of the map. But then the final couple of minutes where Gnik just starts having fun with it and hitting these ridiculous shots, clearly showing a level of comfort where he's kind of shrugged off what happened prior. I kind of feel like he's riding all of that momentum going into the final map. You know, Brick is, by all accounts, even though it's even map score, I kind of feel like he's the one on the back foot.
He's got to ride as much of it as possible, you know? This is going to be a difficult map. I think this is going to be very even. I'll be surprised if we see a result like we just got here, or that we had on Corrupted Keep, for instance. I think the two champions are going to clash interestingly. And then you've got to understand what the dynamics of play are going to be like. Are we going to see a slow build-up? Because it's usually a slow start to the series. At some point during the first map, you might see it get a bit more explosive. They get into the swing of things. And when it's, you know, push comes to shove and you're actually playing for your promotion or relegation, that's when it can start to slow down again even more.
I mean, there's the reality of the situation, which is that this next map decides whether Gnik moves into Pro League or whether Brick saves his own position. By the way, 6 shot. Here it is.
He was looking for him for quite a while.
But when you really write it down and say that this next map that we're about to see is the difference between one player being in or out of Pro League, that's a big deal.
Yeah. It all rides on this. Got 56% rail there from Brick, not too shabby at all. So he's been looking good with his aim, actually. That's one thing that I've really been enjoying from Brick. But Gnik feels like with every game, things are little tweaks and turns, and the buttons are being pushed, the dials are being turned up, and I think
it becomes
that's something he needed. He needed a lot. Whether he wins this map or not, if he does win this map and he gets through, this is an experience that is absolutely essential for him to sort of get that feeling in play.
I mean, it becomes very apparent when Gnik is online, you know. But I guess actually, as you could say, the seesaw effect, it's kind of apparent when he's not online. You know, when he's kind of struggling a little bit and maybe he's missing some shots that we don't expect him to miss. But when he's able to land it, it's like, wow, you know, this is a crazy experience for a player who is very heavily inexperienced on a LAN setting. Yeah. But Brick, I mean, we can't count this guy out by any means. He's had some wonderful maps so far.
A little bit of me, okay, a lot of me wants to see the Brick, you know, finger wag facial expression.
The free Brick.
Yeah.
This is
will
like,
we get that?
If Brick saves himself, this will become the ultimate of free Brick.
Yeah.
Brick is free.
He's embraced that as well, actually. Again, the guy's an aura of positivity. And whatever happens, he's going to take it incredibly professionally, incredibly well. But, you know, you're in for it. If you get that win, if you defend your position, you bring it out again. You bring out the free Brick.
It looks like we're loading into our next map now. Thanks for sticking with us so far. I'm sure we'll be back in there in a minute's time. But fundamentally, this has been... I mean, I'm personally really happy to see that the relegation matches are all going down as close as they are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like these players really care about it or something.
I won't be surprised if we see 20 straight maps now at this stage. for just those matches. Guys, we're getting into this. It is the tiebreaker game in the second promotion match of the day. Is it going to be Brick? Is it going to be Gnik making it into the Quake Pro League Stage 2? We're on Brick to begin with. He's got Strog out. And he's pushed in quite furiously, actually, with the lightning gun. He doesn't have a lot to work with, and suddenly the dual-wield nails.
A little bit of an eye roll, actually, coming out from Brick. I wonder if he didn't expect Gnik to essentially pull that 180 and just jump straight back in. That was definitely one of those moments where I think Brick is saying to himself, I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, I think he's surprised, but I think he didn't have that many great resources himself. We've got a little pop rocket into the lightning gun, trying to commit the whole way. He has to be slightly careful as he's low himself, but Brick pushes up behind him. And it's like there's a sort of a battle of minds at the moment. Gnik did this counter-aggressive play that's worked out for him. Now it looks like Brick wants to do the same, but we haven't got major items coming up for a second, and Gnik might have a chance to get himself both of them.
I'm a little bit fearful that Brick decided to almost like chase that angle with the super shotgun. That's not really a lot of weaponry to get the job done. Should be a rail. I guess as maybe a secondary prize, the heavy was denied, but that's now a 3-0 lead that Gnik's currently looking at. Getting that rocket.
What?
Two back-to-back. Give me those directs all day, every day. And he's pushing it even further. Brick is just getting completely bullied at this point.
I thought this was going to be a slower map because of how much is on the line here, but it's gone lights out straight away. Both players seem to be wanting to fight.
Getting the extra fire rate on those rockets just to deny and push away from the heavy, allowing the control to take place. Brick looking to hit an angle first and then takes the Mega. You know, it's a smart choice to say, if I get some damage taken, maybe I can use the Mega and stop the bleeding just a little bit. Problem is, got to back up and get some armor. There it is. Looking for it.
I know Dahang is going to be watching this one carefully as well, as he would be the winner of this. Is going to face him later today. So he needs to study up on his opponents a bit. And definitely learning a bit more, I think, about Gnik on that if he happens to be the one to take this map.
Looks like he's in good form for it so far, but 2 minutes.
This hurts. He's in trouble, and that is going to be going up the bounce pad. At that stage, he doesn't really have a lot of a choice. He has to really go up the bounce pad to try and force out as much damage as possible. Because if he goes down through the water, his chances of survival are super low, and his chances of doing damage are also super low.
Now I'm going to mention, you know, because this is a LAN and because this is our Stage 1 finals, there's the possibility that some viewers out there are unfamiliar with, you know, this kind of Strog that you're looking at. Essentially, a few months ago, this champion was given a crouch slide, you know, making it so Slash is no longer the only champion in the game that has that tool set. However, it does function a little bit differently. It's not quite as fast and snappy as hers is. Ooh. That rail is absolutely fantastic. But what it does for this champion is it allows him to be played in a way that he couldn't before. It also kind of expands the champion pool for players that really like that movement. Here comes another fight, and just like that, Zoot, Brick bringing this match back, kicking and screaming.
This is, yeah. This map's going to go the distance. It looked like Gnik was going to walk away with it for a second, but, you know, there's been fighting fire with fire from both players. And right now, Brick is holding a powerful card. We've got the dual-wield nails coming out, but it's no match for the rockets. Brick is ready for business as we are 4-4. He's going to meet him up on the Mega Health. There's not much in the way of weaponry for Gnik. Rail at the end, not quite going to land it, but he shows himself once more. The rail miss. I can't believe Gnik went in for the push. That was incredibly courageous.
But it was almost so fast that he went in for the push that it kind of forced Brick into a position where he had to go for a very uncomfortable flick. However, spawning with the machine gun, all he has to do really at that point is just sneeze on Gnik and he's going to take him out. So now it's 5-5. You said you thought this would be a close one. You're getting exactly what you wanted so far, Zoot. Here comes now.
That's what we all want deep down.
I feel like if this is going to go down to the final frag, I wouldn't be surprised. At this stage, the Rocket 100, do the maths. That's going to be another frag and a really unfavorable spawn. However, going for a weapon swap doesn't really matter because he's going to get rewarded by the Vial, extra health. He's near the LG anyway, so let's just get all the ammo back. What a position for Brick.
Yeah, he's not looking too bad at all. His control is sketchy, and Gnik looking to push a bit. Heavy's now up, but he can't back off easily. He's taken so much damage. There goes the Pika, trying to get the extra DPS out, but it won't work out. Gnik bringing it back a step closer to tying it up and hitting. It might as well have been a direct rocket then. Rocket jump up and everything, looking for the follow-up.
I love that flick to the rocket too, just to kind of shut off the entrance for a sec. Double heavy machine gun's gonna do so much damage. And believe it or not, we're only just halfway in.
How are we
7
only
to 7?
halfway? How? Heavy's gonna be up in a second. Gnik on the wrong part of the map.
I'm a bit worried about Brick in the sense that, you know, a couple of those frags that have dropped, you can actually even see it in his player cam that he's getting a little bit frustrated with himself because a lot of these frags are going down to just missed rails and there's nothing else to say about it. He's having the angle, he just needs to hit the shot, he's unable to hit the shot, and it costs him so much. Here comes some rocket damage, finished off with the LG combo. And finally, Gnik taking the lead for another time here.
That follow-up rocket before he had that defensive LG at the end.
Oh, the angle.
Immense. Brick has some stack to work with. There is going to be heavy up shortly. Gnik doesn't really want to defend this too hard. Now he's got the mega health. He's got the energy back and going.
Lots of health, but not so much armor just yet. One of those lights will at least make Gnik nice and comfortable.
It's slowed down a little bit now. It's a bit more about the control, and Gnik, I don't think, wants to impose himself too hard. Let's see, we've got up to connector. He hears him. No commitment, but he's going to go in now with the dual wield decides that's the time to pop it, and the lightning gun works out well for him. That was phenomenal aim we just had from Gnik.
And he's also going to get himself the Mega, which makes life a little bit difficult if you're in Brick's situation. Fresh off the spawn, there's only so many weapons he's going to be able to collect. Doesn't have an LG yet, and you know that's the next weapon he's going to have. So when the fight breaks out, maybe we'll have to approach it a little bit differently. But for now, gets caught on the jump pad, some free damage, and some wonderful LG. Brick gets caught out for another time, and starting to slip away from him a little bit. But this is a Woken we're talking about. All it takes sometimes is one good frag, one good bit of positioning, and you can just get that snowball effect back up. Exactly like Brick did at the start of the map.
Exactly. We've seen it already. We can certainly be witnessing it another time. Brick has got some control. Gnik, I think, has been a little bit more sturdy with his aggressive plays. They seem more calculated. He's executing better. Brick now has to see if he can take it up a notch. Can he bring it one more level upwards? Could we find it? There's a good rocket. The follow-up rocket's great as well. Is Brick actually going to be sticking around in this? He's looking to hit some directs. He's not doing too bad. We've got a Pika making its way closer. 27 health left. The rocket jump is insane from Gnik, but he can't find the rail. And he's shotgun not going to work. Brick gets it down. He's bringing it back.
That was an insane fight. I mean, that entry in, and Brick just wasting enough of the time and using the perfect time of the downtime between the dual wield as well. The Pika just being used at the most irritating moment possible. However, Brick, he has to be real careful, being a little bit greedy, gets good damage on the rocket, but is that going to be enough? Uses the crouch side to try and escape. A little bit of a fumble, actually. Can't afford to waste precious seconds when you're trying to escape. 2 minutes on the clock, needs 2 frags. Ooh. Watch out, though, with no armor. He's going to be a little bit tender.
There was a rocket jump that Gnik also did. He has something like 25 HP. He just took the 25 in the pool and said, yeah, I'm going to rocket jump and try and rail him. It was one of the sickest things I've ever seen.
Force, and the dual wield actually being forced means that at the very least, by the time the next fight breaks out, Brick hasn't got to worry about it. I find maybe in some cases, Pika for dual wield might be considered quite the fair trade, but no, the attacker sprung and he didn't have the time to see him, and the wonderful weapon swap. The fact that he just got blindsided there.
Yeah.
Bad news.
That was close. That was close. In fairness, Gnik had to make a smart weapon switch to get the better end of that, but Brick was certainly caught by surprise. Brick has somehow got to be perfect now. A little bit rocket on the sideline, trying to just slide his way to success. He can't even deny the heavy with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Are we going to see some sort of victory lap coming in from Gnik?
Scary positioning now where Brick, he's reaching that point where he has to try and make something happen. I do fear, though, that maybe the damage has already been done. Brick has no choice but to be as aggressive as possible, get what you can off the spawn, push in, try and get a frag and apply the snowball effect. But unless he starts it pretty much right now, there's no chance Brick's going to win this map. Crazy back and forth so far. If Gnik's able to get this win, this will be a great success for him. A devastating way for Brick to go out, but what a crazy 3 out of 5 this has been, Zoot.
Yeah, it's been madness. Did not expect it to be as close as this. We've seen some quality from both of the contestants. 30 seconds to go, and Gnik, I just don't think he wants to make a mistake. There was a lot of showboating happening kind of earlier on in the series, but now it seems to be kind of, you know, let's take it seriously. Let's get across the finishing line safe and securely, and I think there's a sigh of relief, because he knows now that Brick can't do anything about it.
Absolutely game over here. Gnik is going to take it versus Brick in the final map situation. And in the final few minutes to spare, congratulations! He's moving on into the Quake Pro League for Stage 2. Unfortunately, Brick has been relegated, but what a crazy way to go out.
You know what? Really happy with how Brick performed anyway. I think he showed us great games. Should be really happy with his performance, but obviously Gnik's going to be elated by this. What a phenomenal series, actually. I can't believe we were in for such a treat and we didn't even know it. And we learned more about Gnik. I think, guys, we're going to be passing it over to the stage to hear from Gnik.
Thank you very much, guys. I am here with Gnik. Congratulations once again. How relieved are you now to be in the Quake Pro League?
I feel pretty good. I was definitely really nervous. This is my first ever LAN event, so lots going into this. Kind of glad that I pushed out. It was kind of got pretty close, much closer than I wanted. So,
you mentioned that, well, it is your first LAN event, so let's talk about that just for a second. What did you expect versus what actually happened when you got out on stage? Like, what have you noticed? What's been really hyper-aware for you?
Mainly nerves. In terms of like the servers and stuff, it feels pretty natural. It's just more nerves and like making sure that you are thinking everything clearly instead of like, well, nerves, right? So stressing out and not timing items or not thinking of your opponent, stuff like that. And then obviously you have Brick, who's LAN veteran, who's played for several years, right? So, yeah.
And now moving forward in the bracket, have you got anyone that you think might be your stiffest or toughest competition? How are you feeling?
I think I have to face the Hang.
Yes, that's right.
Yep. I've played him online a few times. I've beaten him a couple times, but he'll be very tough. He's probably going to be my toughest, so.
All right, well, congratulations to you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the stage set for the next match that you guys will be seeing here in just a moment. Back to you guys to break down how that match unfolded.
I mean, I think the big thing for us was just, I think Gnik mentioned it himself. He was nervous on the stage. And it's always something I think you can grow to, expect at this level, where, when a player, they can play as well as they can online, but at the moment you have all the different moving parts that a LAN environment introduces, it's quite overwhelming.
I think you can have that aura of confidence and you can give off that appearance that, nerves aren't affecting you, but, we're all human, right? When you get onto a stage like that and it's your first time, it's going to affect you somehow. And, giving that respect to Brick, he is a LAN veteran indeed. He gave a great game. We've got some of the stats here from him too at the end overall in the series. I do want to give a shout out to Brick though. I think he gave us actually some of the best performance we've seen all Quake Pro League here in this match. It was really nice to see. I kind of just wish we saw more of that type of Brick earlier on in Stage 1.
Well, the thing is that just because Brick has been relegated and removed from Pro League currently doesn't mean he's prohibited from taking part in the challenges. Yeah. So I kind of feel like maybe this was a bit of a fire underneath him to go, right, well, now I'm clearly playing at a level that's a bit beyond what I have previously. Let's use that momentum and let's use what we've learned here going into challenges for Stage 2 to, maybe this time in a few months' time, it'll be Gnik versus Brick, the runback, trying to get revenge and remove. Who knows? Yeah, you don't know how these things will go. But that final map, it was kind of hard to gauge up until the final few minutes where, Gnik just hits some wonderful, wonderful shots near the end. And Brick forced into that uncomfortable position where, okay, there's quite a big deficit to make up, so I have to go in. But if that doesn't go well, you actually very dangerously reach a point where it's impossible to come back. So you have to be super aggressive, win the fights, while your opponent is really comfortable, has the stack. And they're kind of the one that is just waiting for you to do it, because they know it's what your option has to be.
This push here from Gnik, I thought was crazy. So many... I don't even blame Brick for missing that, because you were expecting to look for a fadeaway shot as he goes into the banana area, but that just wasn't the case at all.
Well, we actually saw a couple of frags there where Brick was kind of being taken by surprise.
Look at this. He gets to 27. He still has 27 health when he's planning the rocket jump, and he does it right on the health bubble to go for that shot in the air. That blew my mind that you'd have guts to do that. And if the execution was on the follow-up shot, Oh my god.
But that's the kind of decision that maybe some players wouldn't have even begun to think about when there's one map that I guarantee when Gnik did that rocket jump, he wasn't thinking this is a relegation map. Like, I don't think he was factoring in, well, if this doesn't work, maybe I'm actually not going to make it into Pro League.
So a lot of things that you have to do at this level of plays, you've got to be able to do something unpredictable, and you've got to be able to surprise your opponent. That was definitely something that would surprise his opponent. Why is he suspended in the air when I've just done so much damage to him? I thought that was insane. I think we've got a bracket ready.
I believe so as well. So we should be able to check out the results so far. As you can see, for those that missed the action, Cypher was able to defeat Garpy. Last map situation moving on. And then just now, Gnik taking it over Brick. The 3-2s coming through. I mean, I really would wish for nothing else. You know, these relegation matches, you'll want them to be close. Because to me, it spells just how fine the line is between, I guess, lower bracket of Pro League and then the highest level of Challenger. That is such a fine line, it's not even funny.
Are we getting another 3-2 in our next game?
I will be completely honest.